a modern day magician and illusionist.
I play around with illusions that are both optical as visual as well as psychological.
His tricks will leave you spellbound.
Best thing about being able to do magic virtually is it is interactive.
NewsX influencer A-list proudly recognizes David Noble for influence in the art of illusion. Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Paradeep Hanot, and joining us on the show today is David Noble. Now, he's an illusionist and he does magic for a living. Firstly, David, thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Thank you so much, Paradeep, for having me.
The pleasure is all ours, David. If you could just help us by understanding, what is it like being an illusionist? What is it that you do?
What is it like? So basically, what I do is tricks and effects. I'll tell you what. Let's cut the fluff. I am what they used to call a magician 15 years ago, but then thanks to people making magic cliche and expecting a magician to pull rabbits out of hats and flowers out of tins and things like that. So as soon as we decided to enter the corporate market, we decided to call ourselves illusionists just to make magic great again.
Okay, and so what kind of illusions do you do? What is it that let's say we ask you to do a show for us. What can we expect from a David Noble illusion show?
Well, you could expect a lot of interaction, a lot of mind reading, a lot of surprises, things appearing, disappearing. People coming up on stage, strange things happening to them, sometimes losing their memory, but yeah, things like that. So I play around with illusions that are both optical as visual as well as psychological. So I try to blend both of those together to create a slightly different form, a different brand of magic.
Okay. David, very interesting that you mentioned the stage. Now, after COVID, one thing that has become redundant is having a stage to perform on, right? Which I'm sure has also impacted how you perform your magic, how you do your magic quite literally, as well as metaphorically. Now, behind you, you have a very interesting set that we were just talking about. Tell us about that. Tell us about having, doing these illusion shows online, and what kind of a difference does it make, being physically out there on a stage versus virtual?
Okay, well, now something that I believe it is something that one of my, the people who I look up to, who is this magician from Las Vegas by the name of Jeff McBride, he says all the world's a stage, like what Shakespeare said. So you don't really need a stage for, I keep doing this because there's a lot of dual reality going on here. But then anyway, so you don't really need a stage or a platform to do magic. And I'll tell you what, so 20 years ago when I first started learning magic, I would come home from school, quaff down my lunch, and then rush into this very room where I had a little shoebox with all the different tricks and apparatus in it. And I would practice pretending to be on a stage and listening to the imaginary applause.
Yeah.
20 years later, I am back in this room with my little box of tricks, pretending to be on stage and listening to the imaginary applause just virtually. And this used to, like I said, it used to be my bedroom. So I had to get rid of my bed to do this entire setup. So I guess I've given performing in the bedroom a whole new meaning.
Yes, you have indeed. I want to ask you, when you started performing, full time, when you decided that you wanted to do this as a career, how viable is being an illusionist as a career option? Because I'm sure many viewers watching this would also want to, maybe experiment with it, might want to take it up as a career choice. Is it viable? Is it a feasible career option?
It is a feasible career option because that's what I have been doing for the last 15 years. And I would not lie by saying that, I have been sailing through COVID. No, I have not been sailing through COVID. It has been difficult. I have had to readjust a lot of things, but yeah, it is a very feasible career. In fact, not only being an illusionist, because it's not something that very many people are drawn to. Or rather, let's change that around. Let's say that magic does not really draw in too many people because for two reasons. One is the secret, which people think is the most important part of the effect, which it's not, is often quite, what should I say? Uninteresting. It's not as interesting as the effect looks or what the audience sees looks. So that kind of disheartens people when they're getting in. Or it involves a lot of practice, which people are not really willing to put in the time, or they don't practice enough. They'll go out and do a trick. People will be like, okay, they won't get the reactions that they want, and they step back. So it's not only magic, but any art form or any kind of extra curriculum that people do want to take up. So I believe if you want it enough, you are going to make it happen. You are going to take a decision and make that decision the right decision. So that is something that I really believe.
Right. And so then, David, do you think?
So yeah.
So then, do you think, David, that going digital is going to be the future as far as even, let's say, being an illusionist is concerned? Because a lot of the content that is now being consumed is via the digital platform, right? Do you think that digital is the way forward? Is that something that you want to do and delve into full time?
Digital is part of the way forward, because what I feel is no matter how much COVID happens and how much any other pandemic or anything happens, nothing beats the human connection of a live show or performing one-on-one. But right now, with going digital has been a blessing. It's like right now we are doing this digitally, which we would not have even thought about it maybe a year ago. So I've been sitting here and I've done gigs for an audience in Australia. I have done gigs for a sari club in the UK, all from here, from this tiny little setup, a phone, a laptop, a ring light, and what used to be my bedroom. Yeah. So as far as consuming content, which is something that I firmly believe in, creating art still and not content. So call yourself an artist still, not a content creator. Or
Absolutely.
An art creator. That's something that I believe in, because I feel that content is really overrated. Everybody wants to dance to that little song that kid was singing, which is okay. It's nice for the kid, but then what? That kind of disappears a year later. And then something like Binod, which was like a phenomenon, doesn't really make much sense, does it? So,
okay. I see where you're coming from. So then tell me, David, when, let's say, we talk about, being an illusionist, at least in India, as far as being an illusionist is concerned, what do you think artists such as yourself still require, or still need? Is it the fact that you need more people to recognize what you're doing? Is it the fact that more people need to understand the art itself? What is it that you think you need, and all illusionists, in fact, in India are craving right now?
Well, they're craving gigs, audience, and that by default we want to crib. Oh, the government isn't doing anything for us. Oh, we are struggling because this is there. Oh, we are doing, this is not happening because of so and so reason. But my thing is, why are you relying on these external factors? What are you doing? So I would say it's like a lot of illusionists who are friends of mine and who are people who I consult for have actually taken their virtual shows, and they have exploded on the scene with the virtual shows, because it's something new, it's something different. And the best thing about being able to do magic virtually is it is interactive. That both of us can actually do something together. So what I feel is that a lot of people need, or a lot of magicians need to up their game. They need to understand their audiences. And classics of magic are classics for a reason. But you need to bring them and give them a context which people relate to. You need to connect with them instead of, because if you would see a guy in a top hat making birds appear, you'd probably go, but then a couple of years ago, an act from Britain's Got Talent went viral. A guy called Darcy Oak made pulling birds from thin air cool again. So it was back there, it was contextual. So I believe that moving with the times, even it's better to be a little ahead of your time than to be a little behind your time. So yeah.
All right, David. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Influencer A-List, and more power to you. Keep doing your illusions and creating magic.
Thanks so much, Parithi. It's been a pleasure to be part of this, and I hope to connect in person sometime soon and share some magic.
Absolutely.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.